which is an IRC Quick Shifter. You can see the load cell and everything, and the control box. Tested it out as far as the wiring goes, and everything worked, or at least it looks like it works. Can't really test it on the street until spring, but I'm gonna try and look and see if there's a, you know, if I can kind of do it on the stand here a little bit, just to make sure. Just in case you ever want to know, the IRC Quick Shifter for the 2006 CBR 1000RR requires the harness to go to the coils, not the injectors, which makes it a lot more involved of a process, because the injectors are basically right here, well, under here, but very easy to get to. The coils are down in here, so you have to remove both fairings. You have to drop the radiator a little bit. You have to remove the air intake scoop and all that, to remove the whole air box, just to get down to the coils. So it's a bit of a challenge. It was a lot more involved than I was prepared for originally, but it's all wired up now. It was a very plug and play process. There wasn't, you know, once you get to the coils, it was very easy. You just plug in one side to the coil and the other side to the stock connector, and route all the wires back. The shift linkage was pretty straightforward. I did have to trim that rod. They say in the directions that that's a possibility, but you do have, I did trim one segment off of the rod on both sides. One thing to keep in mind on that, which took me quite a while to figure out, is that one side is left-handed thread and the other is right-handed thread. So I thought it was machined wrong for about 45 minutes. I kept playing around with it until I found the right combination of stud and direction and everything else to get it to actually assemble properly. So once that was done, though, that went fairly quick. So just to give a kind of a demonstration, now I don't like running this on the stand, but I wanted to at least test this quick shifter out. Again, it's an IRC Quick Shifter, works on the coils, 2006 CBR RR, or 1000RR. So this is the factory settings as it comes. So on this, it's upshift only. Let me get, it's up on the stand, so I'm going to put it in first gear. From the factory, it's set up to shift after 3,000 RPM. So you can see my hand's not on the clutch. My foot is under the shift selector. So I'm just going to rev up past 3,000. You can hear it went through the gears without me using the clutch. So it seems to be working well, which is awesome. And it was really a step outside of my comfort zone. I've worked on cars for several years, done a lot with cars, but I've really never dug into a motorcycle. Now, to be fair, that it wasn't really that difficult of a process in theory. It's really just replacing that rod and adjusting it properly, and mounting or snapping in the connectors and connecting a ground wire, and then running all the wires. It's from the actual fundamentals of it is really straightforward. The problem is that to get to the coils, like I said, you have to remove a lot of stuff and really dig in to this area of the bike. There's a lot of stuff in the way to get there. But on principle, in case you don't know how it works or what it is, the clutch, when you clutch in to upshift, you're really just taking load off of the engine, and that's what allows the gear to go into the next gear. You can actually clutchless shift by releasing on the throttle a little bit while you try to upshift. That does the same thing. It takes the load off the engine. What this does is it uses a strain gauge. So it's an actual electro piece. You can see that there's actually a wire running to it. And what that does is it measures the force on this rod. So as you're putting force on it, it's measuring that force, and it's sending a signal to the control box in here. And that control box sends a signal to the coils to cut. In this case, it's for a very short duration of time, 60 milliseconds, but it cuts the coil, or power to the coil, so that you get that temporary reduction in load, enough for you to shift into the next gear, and then it continues on. So you're able to do very, very quick shifting with minimal load on the transmission. It was very smooth. This particular one is very smooth. It has some logic built into the controller to help it make it smoother, so it's not so jarring on the which is bad for the transmission, the chain, and traction. This one is a lot smoother. It was almost like an automatic transmission that, you know, is very, very quick and very seamless, at least when I tested it. So really happy with that. Well, obviously I can't test it on the streets. It's like 30 degrees today and snowy.